Looking
Should we do
forward
the
to
hand jive?
Yeah,
Okay.
of course we should. Ready? What does it start on the legs, you said?
Yeah.
I
Ready?
love how you're like the one that knows this.
Yeah.
Ready?
Okay.
1, 2,
2,
3,
3.
4, 5.
And a 1.
I thought we were gonna do it after 3, like
3.
normal.
We'll do 3, 2, 1. How's that?
Okay.
Ready? 3, 2, 1. Hand jive.
4, 2, hand
Vagina
jive,
pussy.
Baby.
Oh, I was early, damn it.
Hurry up, catch up. This is terrible.
Okay.
You started doing karate. Is that what you said?
Yes, I forgot what was going on. So if Bryan didn't do it, then who did it is my question.
Yeah, me too.
Right, that's the question.
It
Okay,
would
let's
have to
get
be
into
some-
it. Bro, he walked past you. She's saying he stared at her, which
Mhm.
makes no sense. I know it makes sense to you,
Mhm.
but to me it makes no fucking sense.
We talked.
welcome.
We're looking at
Welcome,
the. Oh
everybody.
yeah, you're welcome, everyone.
Oh, go subscribe, like, and comment. Help our channel.
Yeah,
We
we're
do-
babies.
Well, yeah.
We're brand
try-
new babies.
Should we try to do like a true crime, like maybe once a month?
Yeah, we could do that.
Today's special guest
Is Danielle.
Is Danielle, who's introducing herself. I like when Danielle says about her cat when she goes on vacation for a couple days that he thinks that she's hunting. And that she's just like the worst hunter ever because she comes back with nothing.
Yep. Yeah,
Didn't you have a scorpion in your apartment?
I've seen. There's been 2 in my apartment so far. Was it 2 or 1? It was been 2, and they're free.
Scorpions are real.
They're
I'm
real,
kidding,
and they're.
But
they're real,
I'm half kidding. You have scorpions?
I'm officially getting my tattoo tomorrow.
Yay!
I'm so happy for you.
Yay!
Yay! I love impulse decisions. Like,
And you're getting my face, right? Is that what you said? Tattoo of my face on your face or something, so you look like me. What were you gonna get?
So I look like
giant hobby
George
horse on his
Washington.
thigh.
You should.
We left off talking about the PCA.
Catch me up to where you are at this current second in the.
I can't.
situation. Oh, okay.
It's too much. I'm sorry.
And I did watch.
Actually?
Oh, okay. So at this point, right?
She's taking over.
Yeah, they arrested Bryan Kohberger.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That's what we're up to, basically. And then the probable cause affidavit that they used to arrest him contained a bunch of information that we were all like, oh my God, what? So we didn't know that Dylan was actually upstairs and actually saw an intruder. Because we had been told prior to that both the surviving roommates were downstairs and asleep through the night. And that's why 911 wasn't called. That's what we were told initially. Or they didn't say that's why, but it was implied. But they did say that they were downstairs in the basement and they slept through it.
And also, Bryan wasn't like a suspect of any kind. Like the whole internet was like scouring for like who did it, who done it, and then
out of nowhere, like, whoa, who's this
they
guy?
came out with this guy. Yeah, so that's another thing. But didn't he have? He was driving past the location like multiple times, like right before and stuff, and then left his phone.
So according to, and this is an important thing, so I'm glad you mentioned it. In the PCA, it implies that he's been stalking them, basically, by saying that, and you'll hear people say his phone pinged at the house 12 times and stuff like that. So what it actually is, and it says this in the PCA, but the wording is just very technical, so I think people, I don't know what happens in people's heads, but what it actually is his phone, basically his phone was connecting to the same cell tower that supplies cellular resources to 1122 King Road. Correct. And then people who know more about this stuff than I do quickly found out that that doesn't mean shit, because there's only like 2 cell towers in like the areas of these 2 cities, or practically. So you can be nowhere near the house and your phone will connect to the same cell tower as that provides coverage to 1122 King Road.
It would be one thing if his phone pinged somewhere else. That would be good for him. But you see what I'm saying? Like, so it doesn't make him not guilty. It doesn't make him more guilty. It just doesn't make him less guilty.
But either. It does kind of raise some red flags as to why they would use that to imply that he's been stalking them, when they have to know that doesn't place him anywhere near the house.
I was reading something today that said that they actually do have his phone, because remember they said it was turned off for 48 hours? Well, I was reading something that
no, it was
it
turned off
wasn't.
for the a few hours that
Only a few hours
when the
during
murders took place in that period of time. But we don't know that it was turned off. It was either turned
Right.
off or it
Or
was in an area where it
disconnected.
didn't get service.
But they're saying that it wasn't, and they could track him now. So I don't know. And also, I looked at his alibi today because I said, "Well, what's his alibi? Like, if he had a good alibi,
I
what's
know what you're
going
gonna
on?"
say. Can I predict what you're gonna say?
What is it? Oh, go ahead.
So there's one of those things that they keep getting wrong. Are you gonna say that he was stargazing?
That's what he said. He
It's
was like,
not.
he's an avid hiker, and he
Yeah.
would hike, and then when the school
His
year got busy, he would go around and stargaze. And just that night, he was up at 4 a.m. in the
his
morning.
alibi technically is that he was out driving, which he
Right.
says he did regularly.
But
Isn't very
He never
strong,
said
in
he
my
was out
opinion.
stargazing.
he
So there are
should have
people
been
who are like,
stargazing.
"Oh, it was
so fun.
yeah, it's
Beautiful
relaxing."
stars
People are
out
saying, "Oh,
there.
it was cloudy that night," and he says alibis he was stargazing. He never said that's not his alibi. His alibi technically is he was out driving, and they
It's
said that
still-
he could. It's not a good alibi, that's for
Yeah,
sure.
he's like, I
But-
was alone driving.
But they said that they have enough information on his phone and like other pictures he's taken and stuff like that to show that he does that regularly.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, people
And
do.
in that case, it's like, okay, that isn't that bad of an alibi then. If they can establish that he goes out, he can't sleep well or something, and he goes
Yeah.
out.
And let me just
Asperger's
say,
and-
just for the channel too, if that was me and they caught me, let's say I did, do the murders, and there was other people involved, I'm ratting on everybody. I'm ratting on everybody. I'd
Yeah.
be like, yeah, I just drove the car and they all did it. Like, I'm not gonna sit quiet and be like, oh yeah, it was just me, or like I didn't do it and nobody else did. Like, if I did it,
Yeah.
I'm ratting everybody out. So like, either he's not involved at all, or
My-
I don't know.
My guess is that I think that what you're saying right now is a big reason why people are leaning towards him just not being involved and possibly even like set up. There are issues with
that's tr-
how
there's-
there are issues with how the prosecution got his DNA or how they got to him.
Yeah,
So they won't turn over. Last I heard, I could be wrong about this, haven't looked into it recently, but they were fighting tooth and nail not to turn over what they were supposed to give the defense showing. So they're supposed to give documentation showing what happened when they had the DNA sample, what programs they use and what they do with that DNA in order to get to Kohberger. They're supposed to show that. And they
yeah.
refused to. I don't know if they have yet. I don't think they have. And there are inconsistencies as far as what's been said and shown. It could just be that they used, as an example, they used like a ancestry site that they weren't supposed to go into and use because there are laws about that. But I think it depends on the site. Maybe some of them allow law enforcement and some don't. So, giving them benefit of the doubt, it could be something along those lines where they technically did something they weren't supposed to do, but it shouldn't matter. And that's why they're not handing over how they got to Bryan. But even like if you look at it, like take a step back and look at it, if his DNA, and they also said that it was a partial sample on the sheath. So they had to do something else in order to get to him by like filling in the blanks basically and then confirming it. So it's not as,
like concrete.
concrete. Yeah.
Yeah.
But shit, what was I gonna say now? Oh yeah, so if they had his DNA on that knife sheath and it was 100% him, easy, that's his DNA, then they wouldn't have had to have gotten trash out of the trash at his dad's house. Because they would have just had the DNA from the knife sheath and then gone and arrested him and then done like a cheek swab or whatever they do and
Yeah.
it would match. And that's it. Why would they have to go try to get more of his DNA from the trash? Like that
I don't
even
know.
is interesting.
Yeah.
So there's weird stuff going
Yeah,
on
there's
with
weird
that.
There's just too many. Like, let's just say that he was like if he is innocent or something by chance. Like, what a shitty deck of cards you put yourself in, if that makes sense. Like, you didn't save yourself from any of, like, every it points to you in every which way.
But the
enough.
thing is, it feels like that until you actually look at each individual thing and you're like the cell towers. The cell towers now
Okay,
that we know what it's actually saying means literally nothing.
and that's fine. That's fine.
You know,
But
so
then,
each thing that you think, I got them with, when you look into it and look at what they actually said or what, you know what I mean? It's not good at all. It's
other
it's
than
not-
the
it-
cell towers, like what else is like
Literally
His-
all of it.
I mean, obviously, his bushy eyebrows is the one thing that.
a thread?
That's a, yeah. Can we
read
talk
another
about the fact that
article.
like
I keep talking about them in all the articles. I'm
but, like,
he
what?
doesn't even have bushy eyebrows, right?
What?
he kind of does.
Well,
he has distinct.
first
he has
of
a
all-
distinct eye situation. I don't know if you consider it bushy eyebrows, but he has like a Neanderthal eyebrow.
He has a prominent brow bone.
There
if
you go.
Will
Yes.
you?
Yes.
Well, doesn't every
Yeah.
man have like really
Yes.
bushy eyebrows? So like
Kinda.
what?
As much as he does, yeah, because he doesn't really have. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. Like, I would never describe him as having bushy eyebrows.
No. But you have to talk about the second floor. So Xana and Ethan are being murdered. This chick on the same floor hears nothing.
Mm-hmm. Or
There's
here's like
nothing?
a little bit what you thought was Kaylee
There's no
playing
way
with her
one
dog.
person
that's even true.
stabbed 4 people and
Oh, I
nobody
think
heard
he had
anything.
help. Yeah, I definitely think he had help.
I don't get it. What is the motive here?
Well, stabbings are more
Yeah.
much more personal. You have to like, but it doesn't necessarily mean like that it's always targeted because there's no way he targeted all 4. I mean, I don't know.
Well, that's the question.
Yeah, that's the question. Like, could
yeah.
could there
Who
be a
was the actual
connection?
target?
That's a good question.
Also in the PCA, it says, so they talk about him. They were looking for a 2011 to 2013 white Hyundai Elantra. It ends up he has a white Hyundai Elantra, but it's 2015. And to all of us, we would look at it and be like, same shit, I can't tell the difference. But they had a FBI agent who specializes in identifying vehicles and who has done it for years and has like some kind of computer program where they can actually go into the details of like what the fog lights look like and of all the different trims, all of that. And he said 2011 to 2013, which is wrong. So that doesn't mean it's not like a huge thing, but it is kind of like, well, why? There are differences, slight differences in those cars.
Fair.
And then so
Well,
they
they-
later changed it. They later changed it to say 2011 to 2016
Because they
But that
already
was-
found his car.
after
Yep.
they found his car. So that doesn't really look good.
And I was watching, I was doing some research today, and during the hearing, apparently they're saying they gave it to like another, like the footage of the car to like another expert, and he was like, I can't tell what that is. Like the image is too grainy. They're like, we have no clue. Like you can't tell from this image. So I found that
Yeah.
interesting as well.
That is interesting, yeah.
My problem with this whole situation is I'm truly believing that this man is like guilty until proven innocent. Like I want him to prove innocent to me, which I get is obviously incorrect, right? Like that's
Yeah.
not how things are supposed to work. Like, but in my mind, I'm like,
Yeah.
if all signs point to you, give us a reason to not think it's you. Okay, so you drive basically the same car. You were basically in the same area. You da 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 da.
I mean, I could give you reasons. There's no connection between him and any other roommates in the house. Not on social media, not anywhere.
I thought they said
And
that
none
he
of
like,
his-
didn't have social media or something.
Yeah, I mean,
Or
there's
does he
no-
not? Yeah.
He wasn't following them on any sites. And they thought that initially there were rumors going around saying he was, but that wasn't true. There's no connection. There's no evidence of anyone, no DNA or anything from any of the victims in his car, in his apartment, or in his office. They checked all of those places, obviously. None of his blood, sweat, tears, none of his DNA other than this touch DNA on the knife
Yeah.
sheath, partial saying whatever that they're being shady about. None of his DNA was left at the house other than that. There's still no motive. You don't need motive in court, but like for something like this, it's a little like, wait, what? That there's no, they
Yeah,
can't,
that's
why
the
did he
big-
do it?
That's the big question, right? Is why? Because most
Mhm.
crime, that's like the. That's why I was leaning towards the organized crime / hiring situations, because that would mean that it would make sense at least that he didn't have a prior connection to them other than like
Yeah.
potentially stalking them.
But you have to think
Right,
for
which is
organized
not-
crime, like,
Go ahead.
I was just going to say for organized crime, they're not going to kill a bunch of teenagers, like college teenagers in a house.
Unless they were gonna like snitch on someone for something.
That's my. I think that
That's
it
where
was.
I'm leaning right now.
Yeah, and with him seeing the other roommate, I'm with Ashley that I feel like he might not have either actually seen her, or because in my robbery gone wrong situation, I am like, why would he leave a witness to look at his bushy eyebrows? But also, maybe he knew the cops were on the way, because if it was the robbery, but unless they knew those girls at the bottom, and they and that's
Right.
that's a whole other
That's-
situation too.
That's what I'm thinking too. That's
Yeah.
where I'm leaning.
We got to
And I'm
get
not
into
saying
the.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say we got to get into the 911 text
Yeah.
messages and the.
And that stuff just came out 2 days ago.
Yep.
So it has since come out that there's no evidence of stalking, and that accidentally came from the prosecutor himself, in a hearing that had to do with something completely different. He admitted that there's no evidence of stalking.
See, now there's just so much incompetence that it becomes like, almost, are you doing this on purpose? Like,
Yeah.
So it's like, where are the bloody footprints? I'm still with
That's
Juliet
my
on that.
number one.
Where are the bloody footprints? There's no bloody footprints?
And why are they not acknowledging that there are no bloody footprints? Why is no one
Right.
saying, regardless of the fact that there are no bloody footprints, blah 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 blah? Like, no one's even mentioning it.
when you
They're
say
just-
when you say bloody footprints, you just mean because there was so much blood had to
Yeah,
be.
you have to
So
step
much
in. At least
blood.
part of your shoe at some point has to touch
Well, they
blood,
were
and
There's
then
blood
you walk.
splatter,
beds,
like
in beds, right? Like,
Yeah.
no,
I
they
mean,
weren't
some
in
of them
bed?
were, yeah, at least 2 of them, where we know for sure. I think Maddie's the only one that we didn't hear
I
anything
imagine
about them
he would
fighting
be
back.
absolutely covered in it for sure, though, and leave some behind. Absolutely,
right.
Yeah.
yeah.
Which there
And
was.
they put up, so Xana and Ethan likely put up a fight. They said Xana for sure did. So think of all the blood you're going to be stepping in
Yeah.
as you're fighting with this person and stabbing them. And then you turn and take a step, like you're leaving a print. There's no way. There's no,
blood
it's
everywhere. The house
impossible.
was bleeding. Yeah.
It's impossible to not leave even a partial footprint. And what they did find was a latent shoe print, meaning that they had to like use special methods of being able to see it. So either it was blood and was cleaned up, or something, and that's all they found. So no fingerprints. I understand if he's wearing gloves, fine. Shoe prints, there's no way.
So either they cleaned up, or
They had to have cleaned up,
or he watched.
which
where he was
means
stepping. Yeah, which
the
means
time
they
period is not accurate.
Right, and they were in the house. I don't know.
So overall, this state has not been cooperative, the prosecution, in turning over discovery to the defense. They turned over, I don't know how many it was, like 6 terabytes or something of information to the defense, saying here's everything we have, and then have been like, we sent her everything we have, I don't know what you want us to do. But in reality, what they're supposed to do is like give it in some kind of like format, like this is what we're gonna. The thing is, a lot of people were saying for a while, like, oh, when we'll have to wait till the trial to see, like, the smoking gun that they have or whatever. But because of the discovery process, it's not how it works. But the trial begins in August, I think. It's going to be crazy.
They should be interesting.
So Xana's mom had communicated somewhere that Xana's dad told her that there was some kind of fight at the frat party that Xana and Ethan were at that night. And that
Fight at a frat party. Sounds
Xana's
pretty
dad.
normal, unfortunately.
It depends on the reaction to it. So I wish we were able to hear. Yeah. I wish we were able to hear what Xana was telling him about it.
Yeah.
But apparently he wanted to get in his car and drive over to Xana. So he was worried, and then Xana's sister was like, no, you were drinking beer, you can't drive anywhere. So he didn't. But I want to know what that fight was about.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I mean, it does sound very like whatever, frat boys.
Yeah.
Depends.
But
It really depends.
maybe it was something way more serious than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Skills.
I think his phone lost service, basically. I don't think he turned it off. because they're
Yeah, I don't
right
think
in
so
this
either.
area, like right next to like just woods.
I think it's just like too close. Like it's like well, there was DNA, but it like wasn't the okay. So it's like still was. Like I get it, it's like not exactly what
Maybe
they said.
we
or
don't know
it's
that it still
not-
was though. That's the thing. They could have faked the whole thing, and that's why they're not showing us how they got to it.
If that's
I
the
mean,
Yeah,
like
no, that's
it's like
unfortunately that is a possibility with this case that it could be that. And I'm like, I'd be the first one to be like, yeah, that stuff happens, but it doesn't happen as
we gotta
often as
do Making a
people would
Murderer,
think.
because Making a Murderer, that shit was staged as fuck. Those cops went in and staged his blood. Like, they took his blood from, like, when he got blood, took it, and, like, planted it in a car.
Yeah.
Like, they staged the fuck out of that. And, like, and everyone's like, well, his blood's in the car.
So the university seems to like run that town. So I think if the cops did plant anything or whatever, I think the university
well, they're complicit. They
would
were
have gotten
in it.
hold of cops that they were friends with or that they had something on or something and did. I think it's coming from the university because there's weird shit going on there. Like the house itself, which you would think they would hold on to so that the jurors could do like a walkthrough and stuff. Like it hasn't even gone to trial yet. They demolished the house, even though the parents, the families were like, please don't do that. Or
I
all
did
but
not
one
know that.
family, I think. Yeah.
That seems
But
like
the
a
landlord
kind of, like,
who owned the house actually sold the house to the university.
to bulldoze.
They shouldn't have
Yeah.
done that until after everything was said and done. And they found out who the real killers were.
Yeah.
And
So
my
there's a lot of weird
IMO,
stuff with the
allegedly,
university.
everything's allegedly, because
Do you think the cops themselves could have done this?
nah.
No, I think it would be like that whole town covering for, like,
'Cause
let's say
it's,
let's
again-
say, hypothetically, let's just say a cartel did it and there's a serious drug issue there. The university will not get anyone going to that school if it becomes known that there's like cartels running that town or something like that. So they might cover for that.
Yeah. I mean,
I'd be
I'm,
like,
I'm
oh, it was
still with you on the
this
organized
psychopath all
crime
the-
situation. You're thinking it's even bigger than even what I was thinking. I thought that it was just the people in the house were part of potentially. You're thinking the university and the town and the cops are all part of some type of organized crime potentially.
Or just covering for it because of the way
Yeah.
it's going to look. They won't get
Yeah.
any.
Slash, like
money
maybe,
to-
or maybe they're being threatened, or maybe there's like incentives,
Yeah.
or like any of those types of things.
Or
like
both, or
keeping
all of
them,
it.
Yeah, keeping them covering for these sketchy people.
Yeah.
And I do
I don't
think
know.
that
It all seems so fishy. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know if it's like a big thing. It might just be like somebody's obsessed with somebody. They go murder.
That's what I was
Dan and
previously
Ethan wake
thinking,
up
yeah.
and like they murder that. It's just, but it's so.
think like Breaking
There's
Bad,
so
right?
many
Like,
questions. There's so many questions.
yeah.
Why did Bethany and Dylan not die? Why did they? So either the killer didn't know the house, didn't know that there was somebody on the first floor, then in the second bedroom.
Maybe his bushy eyebrows were like covering one of his eyes because they were so
100%.
bushy. And then Dylan was like on that side and he just didn't, you know?
Yeah, what is that? Like all the pictures of the eyes with the eyebrows. I want to see what they look like because it could just be pictures of eyes. Because some like drawings of eyes are really pretty,
Love-
but
people
Yeah,
they're
it
just like
probably
eyes
isn't-
and eyebrows and all the eyebrows, and we're like, what?
It probably isn't as weird as it sounds. It's just weird for like people
No.
who have been following this case because like the only information
Yeah.
we got about Dylan was basically that she saw him and described him as having bushy eyebrows, and like everyone ran with that. So she's like the bushy eyebrow, the girl who said bushy eyebrows, and then to find out she has drawings of bushy eyebrows. Like
Just an
it's just
obsession
crazy.
with bushy eyebrows.
Yeah, it just is so
Yeah.
weird.
It's
more the way
weird.
with the information was
It's fucking
presented
weird.
is really weird, but it probably isn't that weird in real life.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah. So also they're saying they like all these stupid Nancy Grace. You know who Nancy Grace is?
I love Nancy Grace. She also
No.
hates
She's-
Nancy Anthony.
So she apparently is really bad with this, like really bad,
like bad
Um,
as in like bad with
like
anyway.
straight up saying stuff that is not true.
Well, I don't think that she's necessarily like the most. She has the most integrity as a journalist, Nancy Grace.
I don't think she has any. So I don't watch her, but I only saw
Okay.
a little bit because I
Yeah.
heard so many people like their minds were blown over what she's out there saying, and it's really she's like the worst of the worst. Like she just described
I thought she died.
the
I thought she wasn't alive anymore, Nancy Grace. I don't know why I thought that.
Yeah,
But
I
she's
don't know
dead.
either.
I thought you were saying when you said
Are you
Nancy Grace,
Googling it right now? To see if
I'm
she's
Googling
alive?
Nancy Grace. No, just like
Okay. I was gonna be
I
like, I
want-
did see a video earlier today.
I thought it was when you guys said Nancy Grace, my mind went to Nancy Drew. The like
That's
and
why
I
you
was
were
like,
quiet
like,
this whole time. You're just like,
yeah, I was like the books.
the young adult novels.
Yeah,
Yeah,
with, like,
about the
the-
detective. Okay. I'm like, wait,
Yeah.
yeah, she's the worst. It's
Oh,
fucking
she
weird.
visited the home allegedly. Nancy Grace.
No, I bet she did. She probably camped out there or something.
Yeah.
her
She probably
Nancy
rented
Drew
it.
out there.
Yeah, those two. It's two Nancys. Couple of Nancys right there. Bad news. Real quick on him turning his phone off. They keep like portraying him as like this criminal mastermind because, you know, he was quiet. He did well in his classes. His criminology professor said he was like great. He's socially awkward, whatever, and he's just like psychopath, whatever. You know, wouldn't you? Let's say you were the killer. Let's say you're him and he's the killer, right? Why on earth would you leave your house with the phone on, start driving, at some point headed over in that direction, turn your phone off, and then turn it back on afterwards, coming back home? Would you ever in a million years do that? Knowing it's going to show that you turned your phone
Honestly,
off right.
I probably wouldn't even think about turning my phone off at all.
I
would leave. I would.
think of all the times
I would
when-
leave my phone at my apartment so I could say I was at my apartment the whole time or something. I can't. I
I
just
don't
can't
think he's a
picture it.
criminal mastermind by any means in that way. I don't think
He
that.
definitely isn't if he turned his.
And the
his
night
phone- like the two
and
things
the
can't
night
be
shift.
true. Yeah.
If it's think about this, guys. If it's a drug cartel, like coming after them, you have to be in serious debt with them for years over large amounts of drugs. There's no way.
Okay, expert. Okay, okay.
No, I get what
White.
you're saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. They're not going to come after you if you're like, "Hey, you bought a Xanax off me for $10. Like, give me my money, or we're going to
But what
murder
if
you."
they? What if through like friends of friends, they were using that house to store stuff temporarily?
I just don't get that feeling. That's just my intuition. I mean, they could be. Like, we obviously don't know. Can't put anything past anybody. But that's just not my.
Because that wouldn't be like those kids like drug dealing. That would be like them doing someone a favor. You know? And then if something happened, they have a party and that stuff gets stolen.
Yeah, I don't know. I
or
don't know.
used or whatever.
Yeah,
and then,
I mean,
yeah,
it could be
they're
that I
in-
just-
they're in hot water. Well, I
My
wouldn't.
intuition
If I was the cartel, I would not put my stuff in a house with 6 people, 6 college kids.
You're right. Exactly. Yeah.
So I get it. Like I'm still leaning towards like some kind of organized crime thing or whatever. But like, correct. Like what a bad place. Anyway,
I could see that if they're selling like stuff to that university.
So I'm like, I don't think it's that. I don't know. You know, it's just a shame for him. Like, if he in fact is innocent, it's a shame that he was just like out driving, having a nice drive at 4 a.m. And they're
That's-
like, "Oh yeah, you murdered all these."
If they are framing him for something, then the question comes up that why him? Like, what did
how do you know him?
they have against him?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like
Yes,
Stephen
it's-
Avery. Like, they hated him, and he was suing the state, and they framed the shit out of him.
Yeah, that's what I'm
There's
saying.
very
It has to be
few like
something.
coincidences. Like there's no way that they picked him at random. They said like, hey, we
Right.
know some guy who drives around. Let's blame it on him. There's just no way. They either had
Right,
to
it
know
has to be
him
that
or
they want to try to get rid of him in some way also.
yeah.
All right, let's read it.
When is this?
All right.
Sorry, what
Is-
time is this at?
This is at noon.
Okay.
The following
That-
day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the following day. You could see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. All right, 911, location of your emergency. Hi, something is happening. Something happened in our house. We don't know what. We have, what is the address of the emergency? 1122, and then probably off to the side. No, don't. What is the rest of the address? Oh, Kings Road. Okay, is that a house or an apartment? It's a house. Can you repeat the address to make sure I have it right? And then a new person, female, says, I'll talk to you guys. We live at the right, so we're next to them, so that's a neighbor. I don't know if it's a neighbor that's a friend or what, but it says it's a female and it's a neighbor. The dispatcher says, I need someone to repeat the address for verification. Neighbor says, the address 1122 King Road. And what's the phone number that you're calling from? What's your phone number? blah, 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 blah. What's the rest? Blah, 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 blah. So the A here, the person who first called, is Bethany, the roommate, not the bushy eyebrow one.
Okay.
Because they did tell us that the call was made from Bethany's phone. And then since you have A1 is asking, what's your phone number? What's the number you're calling from? And she says, what's your phone number? And then A tells her. See what I mean?
Okay. Yeah. Got it.
Okay, tell me exactly what's going on. This is a neighbor still. One of the roommates who's passed out and she was drunk last night and she's not waking up. Bethany says, no, we saw dispatcher. Okay. Neighbor, oh, and they saw some man in their house last night. Yeah. Bethany comes back on, says, hi. Dispatcher says, and are you with the patient? Okay, I need someone to keep the phone, stop passing it around. And she says, can I just tell you what happened, pretty much? Dispatcher says, what is going on currently? Is someone passed out right now? Bethany says, I don't really know, but pretty much at 4 a.m., dispatcher, okay, I need to know what's going on right now if someone is passed out. Can you find that out? Bethany, yeah, I'll come on, we got to go check, but we have to. So they're calling, they're not actually, like, in the room with the body, which makes more sense. Is she passed out? She's passed out. What's wrong? Dispatcher, dispatching Moscow Law Ambulance, or Bethany, she's not waking up. Blah, 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 unconscious, 1122 King Road. And these are all, like, the responses you're hearing through the dispatcher's phone of, like, the other radio she has, I guess. You know
Can
how you
I
hear them
ask a
talking?
question?
Yeah.
So my question is, I guess they didn't go up to the body because she says she's not waking up.
Well, you have to,
So-
yeah. You go ahead.
So if she was stabbed and, like, wouldn't there be blood everywhere? Like,
Yeah,
oh my
well,
God,
They're
there's blood
lying. I
everywhere.
think they're lying.
Let's
I
finish
don't-
it, though, because it's almost
Yeah.
done.
Okay.
And then I'll explain what I think I figured out.
Okay.
Okay, one moment. I'm getting help started that way. Bethany's saying, okay, maybe. So I think this is picking up, like, background conversations and stuff like that. You know what I mean? 112 King Road, all ambulance respond for unconsciousness, blah, blah, blah. I copy. She says not to them, but to someone else. Multiple RPs on the phone advise saying the roommate on scene is passed out, not waking up. Believes she got drunk last night, and blah, 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 about a male being in the room with them. Something being around. Someone else. Oh, the dispatcher says that one I copy about 20-year-old female unconscious, trying to get further information. Q1 copy. All right, A2, which is a different person, and this is someone named Evan. Says yeah. I'm guessing he says yeah, it's me, and that's why it's in parentheses is Evan, right? Bethany says okay. Dispatcher, okay, and how old is she? Bethany says she's 20. Dispatcher, 20, you said? Bethany, yes, 20. Here, do you want to talk to him? I guess meaning, what's his name? Evan, because then Evan comes on. She says, okay. Evan says, hello, which sounds like it could be things are getting frantic now. Dispatcher, okay, I need someone to stop passing the phone around because I've talked to 4 different people. Evan says, okay, sorry, they just gave me the phone. Dispatcher, is she breathing? Evan, hello? Dispatcher, is she breathing? Evan, no. Dispatcher, okay. Someone else on the radio, something blah, 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 en route. Evan says, I guess, like, you, I need you to talk to them, okay? Talking to them, okay? I can't talk to them. I need you to talk to them. That's directed to Bethany or Dylan. Bethany gets on the phone again. Okay, hello? Dispatcher says, okay, I've already sent the ambulance and law enforcement. Stay on the line. Bethany says, okay. Dispatcher says, if there's a defibrillator available, send someone to get it now and tell me when you have it. Units responding, RPs advising. Patient is not conscious, not breathing. Okay, if there's a defibrillator available, send someone to get it now and tell me when you have it. Bethany says, we don't have one. On the radio, unconscious, not breathing. Bethany asks, do you have a defibrillator? So the cops arrived at this point. That's who Q3 is. He says, yep. And then she tells the dispatcher, yes, we have one. And then dispatcher says, but are you talking to the officer? And she says, yes. Dispatcher says, okay, I'm going to let you go since he's there with you and can help you. Bethany says, okay, thank you, bye. Dispatcher says okay, and then Moscow 46 out, copy. One of the cops there says 13, I think we have a homicide. So he knows right away.
Mm-hmm.
And Moscow ended blah blah blah.
Let's-
All right, so what I got from this is that they are not near the body at all. Other people are. So the neighbor and Bethany are not near the body. They might be downstairs in Bethany's room or something. So and other people are already over and upstairs and probably freaking out. That's why the first thing she says is, hi, something is happening. Something happened in our house. We don't know what. You know what I mean? That sounds like shit they could be downstairs, the people upstairs. Yeah, what is going on currently? Someone passed out right now. I don't really know, but pretty much it. So she could have been, the people could have came in the house, went upstairs into the room, and like yelled, call 911. And then she calls 911, right? Let's look at the text messages between
Oh, yeah.
the two of them.
I guess
I'm
that's
only
right.
now, like this whole time I've been following this like off and on. I'm only now, as of like today and yesterday, starting to form a theory of what I think even happened. That's how crazy it is. I don't even know what I think. You know, until recently, I didn't even know what I thought happened. You know, I could just tell what they're saying is not. All right. So from 4:22 to 4:24 a.m., Dylan sends to Bethany. No one is answering. Dylan to Bethany. I'm really confused right now. Separate text. Dylan to Kaylee. She writes Kaylee. Dylan to Kaylee. What's going on? Bethany to Dylan. Yeah, dude, what the fuck? Bethany to Dylan. Xana was wearing all black. Dylan to Bethany. I'm freaking out right now. Dylan to Bethany. No, it's like a ski mask almost. Bethany to Dylan. STFU. Shut the fuck up. Actually. Dylan to Bethany. Like he had something over his forehead and a little mouth. A little over his mouth, maybe. Dylan to Bethany. Bethany, I'm not kidding. I'm so freaked out. Bethany to Dylan. So am I. Dylan to Bethany. My phone is going to die. Fuck. Bethan. My brain's fucking up. Bethan to Dylany. Bethany to Dylan. Bethany to Dylan, come to my room. Bethany to Dylan, run. Bethany to Dylan, down here.
Okay, can we talk about it for like 2 seconds? Okay, first of all, so did she hear something? Because obviously she woke up and was like, what's going on to Kaylee? So she had to have heard something upstairs.
And she says no one's answering, so this is after she's already tried calling
Or-
them. And
Or she saw someone and is like texting Kaylee, like, what's going on? Did you see the man? Like, I don't
With the
Yeah.
eyebrows,
I don't know.
did you
like,
see the
what?
bushy brow?
Yeah.
brows.
Xana was wearing all black. It sounds like prior to this, Dylan said to Bethany, there's someone up here wearing all black or something like that. And then Bethany is trying to calm her down, being like, well, Xana was wearing all black today or whatever.
Oh, okay.
That's what I get from that. Unless it's a question without a question mark, like Xana was wearing all black? Like, what are you talking about? Like,
That's true.
you know?
Yeah.
It's not looking good though. That's not really. I don't like this at all. Because
Yeah, it's not looking good at all as far as, like, they should have called 911.
basically,
Oh, 100%. Like,
100%
why are
now.
you... What... Like, a dude's in my house? 911.
yeah.
I just saw a dude in a ski mask?
And this
Oh,
doesn't.
okay.
I know that this should make me think like that they did know that it was already going to happen, but this still makes me feel like it doesn't make me not think that they knew it was going to happen, because maybe they thought it was going to happen on a different day, or maybe they thought it was going to happen at a different time, or they didn't think that the dude would actually come in with the ski mask, or like, it doesn't give me like, oh my God, what the actual F is happening. It kind of just gives me, well, it does, but it gives me like this is scary.
Yes.
Period.
So
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I agree. And that's what I'm, like, forming my sort of theory on. So, Dylan,
I
and
don't
then,
know.
so
I
after
disagree
this,
with you guys.
it sounds pretty scared, but here's the thing. If you look at all of it, after this, she leaves her room and goes down to Bethany's room. So she, basically, it feels like she's really scared to an extent, right? she's not really freaking the fuck out, or she would have locked her door, she would have hid under her bed. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
she's not coming out of her room,
That's true.
walking through the living room and then downstairs to Bethany's room. So she's scared. I believe she's scared, but I believe she's scared to an extent, and it's not the full amount that I would think if she knew for sure that they were being killed.
I would have said in here,
I mean, you
should I
have
call
to-
911?
Right. I would like there's two college girls. So one of them should be like, should I call 911? Or the other one should be like, did you call 911 yet? Like,
A reason for that could be if you knew that your roommates were into some shit and had some not so great guys coming over sometimes to pick up and drop stuff off. And you've been just like keeping your head down, like minding your own business.
I don't know. I don't
Are you
know.
going to be
I
quick
just
to
don't
call
get it.
911 and potentially get them in trouble?
So yeah,
So
I get
that's
what you're
why
saying.
I'm
Like they
I'm
didn't
convinced.
realize, yeah, they didn't think that anything like bad was going to come out of this, but when shit did hit the fan, they didn't know what to do.
Yeah,
How many people were in the house? Was it all 6 that lived
6.
there?
6. Yeah.
So I could imagine in a house of 6 people that not all 6 were 100% involved in things like that, and that you're right that some were technically
Collateral.
like innocent. Yes, collateral. Innocent. I don't want to say innocent bystanders, but yes, collateral. And yeah, that's.
I still
Is
think
there more?
I still think that's
No,
it.
not
But
of the text.
I think Kaylee and Maddie, who
Mhm.
else was there? Were one of those were the targets, and then I think Xana ordering DoorDash at 4 a.m. They were up and they were
Bumped into
there.
them.
He bumped into them, and then he killed her. And
Or
I
Xana.
Why
just
do you
think
think he did that though?
Why do what?
Why do you think that he would like? Why would he go after that one woman?
maybe she was like, I don't know. Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you
Also,
still
I mean,
have.
I wouldn't
Sorry.
I wouldn't put it past being a crime of passion either. Like that's
Mhm.
a motive. So I don't know.
But again, if we all are in agreement that there's more than one person, so what
Where?
he's like, hey, I'm stalking this girl and I need to kill her and I need help, and then some guy's like, oh, okay, yeah, like
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So either one guy did do this, or there's more, and there's just what the fuck is the motive? What's the motive? Who was the target?
The other
And then
option. Go
just
ahead.
the timing of how quick it was, right? Like there's
Yeah, that's
why there's no
that's
last
also
one.
part of like how it kind of proves he probably wasn't alone is because of just how quick everything happened.
Yeah, there's
Like,
no way.
yeah.
With
No
no blood
way.
prints. And,
Or he didn't leave when Dylan said he left.
so one guy stayed and cleaned up.
Yep. And she ran, but then she would have to pass him going downstairs to Bethany's room, right? Because the way the house was set up.
Because you also can like smell blood. You also can like this is not.
Yeah.
That's
Yes,
the
and
thing,
there's
like
a
not to be like
ton
gross,
of
but that
blood.
house
Yeah.
would have stunk to
Yeah.
high heaven.
Yes. It's just shady. Like no one called 911. The text messages with the other friends out.
There's someone named Jay, it's redacted. They just have Jay. Texts Dylan at like 10 something a.m. or 11 and just writes, bro.
Oh.
So let me ask you guys, what does that sound like to you? Just bro.
Just bro
Yeah.
is like that could be that's
It could
boy
be
code. That's
anything.
boy code for OMG, which OMG could mean anything.
That's
okay,
I just
yeah.
heard what the fuck happened.
than
I think
just,
it's
like,
I think it's someone that
yeah.
heard about what happened, knows Dylan is alive,
where are the roommates
texts
now?
Dylan, and like that's the first thing they write. It's just bro.
Yeah.
Like it looks
Look
very
bad.
bad on them. Regardless, if they didn't know anything, like let's hypothetically say they're innocent and didn't know any, why?
Why not
Why-
call 911?
Why didn't they call 911? Because prior they were saying that they were or Dilla was in the shock state, and that's why she did. And everyone's like, okay, you can kind of understand that. She's shocked, she's scared, she doesn't know what the hell happening. Maybe she passed out, woke up at 12 and was like, oh my god, my roommates are dead, right?
Yeah.
But now we're finding out that they texted each other and then texted friends, and then like,
Because they
And they
knew.
brought
I think
friends
they
over.
knew.
yeah,
They knew at least in the back of their mind what happened. That's what I think.
yeah. I mean, it could, yeah.
You could
At this
see in the
point, it's
911 call that
just-
they don't want to go and check on Xana.
So
Yeah.
are they gonna
Because I
have to?
would walk
'Cause they
in
fucking
and be like,
know.
oh my god.
They know.
And what do you mean she's not breathing? Like, there's got to be blood everywhere. Even the guy, like
That's
the
what that's
dispatcher, he goes in and he's like, it's a homicide because he probably saw all the knife wounds and the
Yeah.
blood everywhere. So they probably didn't even walk in the room. They probably peeked in, saw she was probably on the floor. Maybe
I don't
they
think
said her
they even
name
saw
and
her.
she. Oh really?
I don't think the girls. I don't think Bethany. Well, Dylan's nowhere to be found in this except for that guy saying, "One of you needs to talk to them. I can't talk to them." Let me show you really quick. I'll make it quick.
Yeah.
What I think happened with the 911 call.
If they are like truly innocent, literally were just in shock, like didn't know what to do, like damn.
Yeah, that's gonna fuck you up
Yeah.
mentally
Yeah.
also. Just
Yeah.
having that many friends of yours die. That
Absolutely.
Die.
In
even
the
if it
same
wasn't
house,
in a
and you
tragic
didn't-
way, 4
Yep.
people that you know,
Yep.
and then like survivor's guilt.
I've never heard of someone not calling 911 when there's like an intruder or something going on. Like,
So here's
This is
another
the-
thing with that. So as far as initially seeing the intruder, so some people have said that like in sororities and fraternities, they have like they're so hush hush about like the reputation that they tell the students like don't call law enforcement, right? Call us first, but not for something like this. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
And they weren't
for, like,
themselves,
smaller
like a
things.
fraternity house or anything. They just had like students in it.
Right,
So,
but that could be like a part of like the culture. So I think
So,
as far as the frozen shock phase thing went, I think that's not even her fault. I think what happened was they asked her like when you opened your door and saw the guy in your house, did you say anything to him or did you? And she was probably like, no, I was just like frozen, like in a frozen shock phase or whatever. Meaning like when she first saw him, she was like, oh,
Right.
like
Yeah.
who was that? And he's walking by.
Yeah.
Not that she stayed in that frozen shock.
Well, that's what they're
phase.
saying. And
Yeah,
eight
that's what they're
hours.
making it
That's
look
what they
like. But
were, yeah.
I think whenever her like transcripts come out of like her sitting and talking to the police at the police station that day or whatever, I think it'll look more like that. All right, let me explain this really quick. So I think Bethany does not see Xana at any point. She's only relaying from people who are in the room or a person in the room. So when the dispatcher says, "Okay, I need to know what's going on right now if someone is passed out. Can you find that out?" She says, "Yeah." I'll come on, she's talking to someone else. "Come on, we got to go check." But we have to, so they don't want to go look cuz they know. At least in the back of their minds. They're probably walking upstairs as this is being said. And then is she passed out is to the people who are in the room or going in and out of the room. Is she passed out? They answer. So she's on the phone with dispatcher. She says, "Is she passed out?" And then she's passed out. So they answer. And then that person probably storms off or something. And she's like, "What's wrong?" Because they just saw Xana. Because someone comes out either crying or something. Because she says, "What's wrong?" So she goes upstairs.
I just
You get
it
what
was
I'm
probably
saying?
just- yeah, but it was probably just
Yeah.
like maybe they kind of knew, but hadn't, like you said, hadn't looked. Like they knew. Well, that's kind of tough to know and not look. I just know that it would like literally make me physically sick, probably, and that would be what's wrong. Like I would literally,
Yeah,
be
actually-
physically sick, like if that's what I saw, and I bet you that maybe that's.
No, I actually don't even blame them for not wanting to go and see. At this
Yeah,
point,
Yeah.
when you know already, you don't want to see your friend.
How do you know?
No.
No, that's the only thing. I'm just trying to.
So they called people over or texted to have people come over. We know that for sure.
No, for sure.
Those
And then, like,
people-
were those people? Like, did they like open up a room and go like, "Oh
Yeah.
God"? Okay, like that's what I'm trying to say. Like how exactly did they?
I think
go,
so.
like, yeah.
That's
And
what, based on this,
wouldn't-
because and I think that's happening. I think someone opened the door, saw it, said, "Oh my God, call 911." Bethany calls 911, and this is where this starts.
Okay.
And she's downstairs or outside or something, and then she only comes in towards the room when the dispatcher says, "I need to know what's going on right now if someone's passed out. Can you find that out?" And she says, "Okay, yeah, come on, let's go. We got to go check." But we have to. And then, is she passed out? She asks to the person who's in the room,
Yeah.
down the hall or whatever.
And the person comes out like crying because
Yeah, it's something for
Or
for her to say
something.
what's wrong.
because of the horrifying.
She's not waking up.
Probably.
That's the other weird thing is that Ethan was supposed to have been in the room with Xana.
Yeah, right. Like, so why are they It's just, I don't know.
He says, and if you picture this, it makes sense. I feel like things start to get chaotic when he gets the phone. When he says Bethan or Dylan, I just did. What I said as a joke before, I just did for real just now.
I like the name
Oh my
Delaney.
God.
That's like not bad.
Yeah, it should be a name. Bethan, I don't know.
Delaney's the name. It's basically
Poor
that.
guy.
Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
So when he says Bethany or Dylan, I need you to talk to them, okay? I can't talk to them. I need you to talk to them. He's freaking out, I think. So he might have seen Ethan.
Yeah.
Just because he's not saying Ethan, yelling Ethan's dead too, doesn't mean...
Yeah.
That sounds like someone freaking out. It's also, so here's something, I have to take Toby out soon. I don't necessarily believe this, but I do agree that it's a good point, and I'd have to think about it. But apparently, like, they talk about how guilty people try to, like, they focus more on creating a story before anything else.
Yeah.
Bethany immediately is saying, the first thing she's saying before getting help for the person is that they saw a guy in the house last night. And then she says, the only one that feels a little like phony to me, and I have to hear it though, I really can't do it based on reading it, is I don't really know, but pretty much at 4 a.m.
It was like she was almost going to say what happened. And then
she's trying to tell what happened.
Yeah.
It does sound like she's trying to inject a story in there.
Well, so here's the other thing. I mean, switching gears a little bit, you still have DNA on a glove that's outside, and DNA from a bloodstained DNA from the handrail. That's unidentified.
Yeah, so I don't think Danielle knows about that. So that's like a huge...
Yeah, and then there was
thing.
DNA under Maddie's fingernails, and then there's a glove outside that had DNA in it from an unidentified male, and then a blood stain or like a blood drop on the handrail that was of an unidentified male that they did not test yet, or they did and they're just not releasing
who it was. Yeah,
who it was. So there's other DNA in the house that they still have to test.
Just think about the fact that there was blood on the handrail in the house, and they focused on the touch DNA on the button of the sheath instead.
Yeah.
So if they, let's say, benefit of the doubt, let's say they do think Bryan Kohberger was there and is guilty, wouldn't you think other people were there with him?
Right.
And that's who left the blood stain? The blood drop, whatever it is on the handrail?
Yes, because knife, like if it's one dude and a knife, like I think me and Juliet were talking about it, but it gets slippery. Like it's gets slippery where your hand slips, you will cut yourself on the knife, and you're gonna end up leaving blood at the scene. It's just inevitable.
Well, or the
it's
people
not like they
fighting back.
stabbed them once.
The
Yeah,
people fighting
exactly.
back are gonna like try to scratch you and get your blood and stuff. That's what I would imagine. I imagine it's like people fighting back. Or like maybe they can hit you with like a lamp or something, and like you got like
you could easily get a bloody nose if you're fighting with someone. Like even Xana, as tiny as she was, she could clearly elbow anyone in the face and make their nose bleed.
Yeah.
And then that's their blood all over.
So many questions. So many questions.
It's crazy. Skibbity boom bop. Old fart.
Skibbity bop bop. Oh yeah.
Skibbity boop 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 bop bop. Yeah, it's bedtime.
Mama Shreds is gonna love this.
Oh, she's we're gonna have to send it to her.
Oh my god, we love you, Mom.
Born to hand jive, baby. Born to hand jive, baby. Oh yeah.
I think I'm brain dead. Anyway.
Yeah.
This was
how many
hopefully you actually got some
with us?
Huh?
I said
how?
Oh, you go first. My bad.
I was just gonna say, how many of you guys did it with us? Those watching our channel. How many
Comment all of the emojis used to make the hand jive.
Someone figure it out. Comment if you know how to do the hand jive and you don't know how you know how to do it. You don't remember learning it. You just know it. Because that's our situation, right? All right.
I love you guys.
Love you both.
Have a good night. Have a good weekend.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Subscribe to their channel.
Yeah.
Thank you.